Hello and so welcome to the OCA webinar. My name is Martijn Siemens. I will be the host and I'm a communications officer here at the Open Charge Alliance. Today we will be looking at the IEC procedure, fast track procedure for the OCPP to become an international standard. With us today is Lonneke Driessen, and she will start with a presentation on this subject, and she will take you on a short tour through OCPP and through the procedure that we are going to follow. Afterwards, there will be a Q&A. If you have any questions, please ask them in the questions box. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you have a lot of questions. Lonneke, are you ready?
Yes, Martijn, I'm ready.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, so welcome everybody. My name is Lonneke Driessen and I'm the director of the Open Charge Alliance, which means that I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations of OCA. And as Martijn explained, I will take you through the process we are in right now with IEC regarding the standardization of OCPP at IEC. So first of all, maybe some of you are not yet familiar with the Open Charge Alliance as an organization. So we are, the goal of the Open Charge Alliance is to help the EV charging industry accelerate. So we are not a standard setting organization such as IEEE or SAE or IEC. We are an industry association focusing on one protocol called OCPP. We are non-profit, founded under Dutch law, so we're based in the Netherlands. And we were founded in 2014. We are a membership organization. Currently, we have 366 members. You don't have to be a member of the Open Charge Alliance to use OCPP, to download it, so it's free to use. But you can choose to become an OCA member and then help the development and the promotion of OCPP. OCPP has been in development for a long time. So every time the industry learns and develops new needs, we add them to OCPP. And we are also incorporating field experience. Whenever someone learns of something in the field, we include it in future versions. Very importantly is that OCPP is free to use. There's no licensing fees. There's no patents in it included. So it's all open source. And we think that's a very important aspect for everybody to move and grow freely. The one thing that is protected is the name OCPP, so that's copyright protected. So there is only one OCPP, and that's this one. So obviously, OCPP is a very simple protocol. It covers the information exchange between charging stations and charging station operators. So that's where OCPP sits in the EV charging ecosystem. The Open Charge Alliance, as I mentioned, only governs OCPP. And we do three different activities. So first of all, we promote OCPP either through testing events, plugfests, or through webinars such as this webinar, and also through all the information we share on the OCA website. There you can find updates, white papers, and the protocol itself, of course. The second activity is the development of compliancy testing and certification. So we have a testing tool that you can use to test your implementation for conformance to the specification. And we offer a certification program where you can ask independent, neutral testing laboratories to test your implementation and provide you with a certificate of conformance. The third activity, which is a big part, of course, of OCA, is the development of the protocol itself, so the continuous updating and extension of OCPP. This is an overview of a couple of things. So first of all, on the top, you see the OCA participants, from which country they originate. As I mentioned, you don't have to be a member, but you can. And you see that most of our members come from the Republic of Korea. So that's our number one country for OCPP. But you see that it's a fairly broad a mix of global companies from different countries. To the bottom left, you see the certificates. This is an example of OCPP 1.6 certificates. We also offer a certification program for 2.0.1, but here you see that depending on the country, the certification program is more used. And to the bottom right, you see the downloads. Downloads are possible for anybody. And in this graph, you sort of see that the downloads are being done a lot to the United States, to India and Germany. So those are the top 3 countries where people are at least downloading OCPP and hopefully using it. This is an overview of the website. Again, you can find news, white papers, also our chatbot. So there's a lot of information there about OCPP. I mentioned the chatbot, so this is something that we've added recently. So everybody is familiar, of course, with AI. And what we now offer is a chatbot that takes from all the OCPP documentation, the specification, the white papers, etc. And you can ask a question in your own language, of course, and then the chatbot will answer in your own language. So if you want to ask a quick question to OCPP, of course, you can read all 1,500 pages. But if you have a quick question, you can also use the chatbot there to get an answer quickly and in your own language. So OCPP has been around for quite some time. The Open Charge Alliance was founded in 2014, but OCPP predates that. OCPP started in 2009 by a company called ELAT-NL, which is an organization from the Netherlands, founded by the Dutch utility industry. So the Dutch electricity grid operators joined together, formed ELAT, and then ELAT initiated OCPP. After a couple of years in 2014, OCPP was handed over to the Open Charge Alliance as an independent organization, and we are now in 2024. So this year we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. In October we have a big party. You can find all the information on the activities also on the website, and we're looking forward to that anniversary. Also this year, hopefully marks the publication of OCPP, not just as OCPP as we all know it, but also as an IEC International Standard. And here you can see the number at IEC. You get assigned a number, and the number assigned for OCPP is IEC 63584. So keep that number in mind, because that will be, if all goes well, the number under which OCPP will be known within IEC. So for the agenda for today, first of all, I will explain you the procedures within IEC. Some of you may be very well familiar with IEC procedures, but some of you may not. So we'll go through them to explain. And then we'll walk you through the OCA IEC proposal in detail. And lastly, if you support the publication of OCPP as an IEC standard, how could you help to get to a yes vote? Because it will entail voting of national committees, but we'll get back to that. So the publication of OCPP as an IEC International Standard has taken 2 steps. The first step is already completed successfully at the end of last year, and that was a step where if you want to propose a standard or propose a specification to IEC, you have to be a liaison A partner. And in the first step, OCA got accepted as a official liaison A partner by IEC to pave the way for the second step. And that second step is where we are at the moment. Currently, we are finalizing the preparation phase. That means that all the national committees within IEC have received the protocol OCPP. The specific one we have submitted is 201 edition 3, which is the latest version of OCPP 201, and edition 3 means all the errata up until this day. OCPP 201 edition 3 was published in May. So it includes all the feedback from the field implementations to date. In July, so in 2 weeks' time, the voting will open. So in that period, it's a 12-week period. Every national committee of a specific technical committee within IEC can vote either yes or no. And hopefully, if we get enough yes votes, IEC will publish OCPP somewhere between November, December, depending on some details. But if all goes well, by the end of this year, OCPP could be published as an international standard. So within IEC, there are several technical committees that address different topics, of course. And the committee that will vote on the proposal is TC69, which you can see here. This is a screenshot from the collaboration platform of IEC. And this TC69 addresses what you can see in this picture is the IEC 61851, ISO 15118. All those types of protocols typical for EV charging are addressed in TC69, and that's also why OCPP is being proposed in TC69. You can see here that the fast track protocol itself, 201 edition 3, is up for vote, 63584 edition 1. But in addition to the protocol itself that has been submitted, first of all, what the protocol entails, if you are not familiar with OCPP, it's the whole document. So it's the introduction, the architecture, the specification of the protocol itself, but also the certification profiles and also the test cases and also the JSON schemas. So the entire package is being submitted to IEC. And that protocol is accompanied by an information document, which you can see here. And this information document is not only submitted to TC69, but it's also submitted for information to TC57, which is another technical committee, which focuses on power systems management and associated information exchange. The reason for that is that our EV chargers that we all work with sit right in the middle between the utility industry and the automotive industry. And that's why the topic of OCPP specification is of great interest to both entities in TC69, which more focus on the vehicle side, and also TC57, that focuses more on the grid side. So the committee that will vote is TC69, the national committees, but the committees that are also included in the procedure are TC57 national committees. So here you see in the collaboration platform of TC69, the information document has been uploaded in June. These are the countries, the voting countries in TC69 and also the observer countries. So they are included, but they will not vote. So you can check if the country where you originate is part of this TC69. And as I explained, TC57 is involved, but they will not vote, but they're still important because, grid operators have a great interest in EV chargers. So on the collaboration platform, if you are part of TC57, you can find the information document and you can read through it in all detail. And again, for those of you who do not know TC57, they're more focused on distribution automation. So that's our bread and butter. One thing that we have written, which is available on the OCA website, is a white paper explaining the combination of OCPP and IEC 61850. IEC 61850 is one of the prominent standards within TC57, and it's a standard that's widely used for distribution automation. And what we've done in this white paper is explain the combination of those two. So to, on the one hand, inform people working with OCPP, so what is this 61850 standard, what does it do, and how does it match? And also the other way around, we try to explain to experts in 61850, so what is OCPP, what can it do, and how can the two work together to charge infrastructure. So this is, as I mentioned, the two steps. So first step has been passed, and second step is on its way. And important in this proposal that we've agreed upon with IEC is that OCPP 201 will be going through the fast track procedure, which means it will be adopted as is, so unchanged. So there will be no difference between OCPP and the IEC 63584. And also important, the Open Charge Alliance will continue to maintain the standard as we have done over the past 10 years. And every updated version we will again submit to IEC through the fast track procedure. So every version of OCPP will be also voted upon within IEC. So the INF document, as I explained, if you are an IEC member, you can see the document either through TC 69 or TC 57. If you are an OCA member, you can find it on Causeway. And if you are neither, you're not an IEC member and not an OCA member, but you still would be interested in the document, please drop us a line and we can share it with you. One important part during the voting of the Liaison A was feedback we got from several national committees who were concerned that under the proposal, OCA will continue the further development of OCPP, and they were concerned that could not contribute to the development of OCPP. Of course, they can always join the Open Charge Alliance and contribute as an OCA member. But what we've included is, in addition to that option, 4 more options for IEC experts to actively contribute to OCPP in future. And in this graph, you can see A, B, C, and D, so 4 options. So the first option is we have as OCA a liaison participant category. So if you are an IEC expert, you can join the Open Charge Alliance as a liaison participant for free. So that's a free membership, and it's for any IEC expert. So not just if you're an expert in TC 69 or TC 57, it's for any IEC experts from TC 0 to TC 1000. I don't know how many technical committees there are, but any IEC expert can join for free as a liaison participant on one provision that they have to agree to the open source nature of OCPP, so agree that the IPR policy of OCPP is valid. So that's an important thing to mark. In addition to that, once there are draft documentation, in addition to either being an OCA member or being a liaison participant, also those drafts will be shared with IEC technical committees for them to see. So that is what was pictured in as part B. And then thirdly, of course, when an IEC committee wants to provide feedback on drafts, they can provide the feedback, but also under the agreement of the OCA feedback policy. And then lastly, part D is something which is general for everybody, so not just IEC experts, but any other party can review the draft of OCPP under the public review. We have never done it before, but we'll start with a public review for OCPP 2.1, the upcoming version in September. So that means that the draft of OCPP 2.1 will be publicly available. It's still a draft, so it's not a final version. But if you're not an OCA member, you can review it and provide feedback, also, again, agreeing to our feedback policy. So this is something that we will start with 2.1 in September, regardless of this IEC process. But in future, this will also remain in place, and then IEC experts have a fourth, or actually a fifth option to contribute to the OCPP future development. So hopefully, and again, of course, as you see in this picture, once OCPP is published, then for it to be adopted by IEC, it will go through voting. And then, of course, IEC national committees have a final veto whether or not the published OCPP version would be suitable according to their experts to be an IEC standard as well. So this is a description of the way how IEC and OCA propose to work together in future on the future development of OCPP, because OCPP will continue to develop. It's still not finalized because the industry is, of course, still developing. A little bit more explanation. I mentioned that you can become an OCA member, and in this graph you see the liaison category, and then IEC experts can join through that category if they want to, for no fee. So I mentioned the feedback policy is important. So here you see the feedback policy. So anybody who is not an OCA, if you're an OCA member, you sign a participants agreement. So you agree to the IPR policy of OCA. If you don't want to be an OCA participant, that's fine. But if you want to provide your feedback, this is something that you will need to agree to, because of course, you agree to for OCA to, if OCA incorporates your feedback, of course, you have to agree to this feedback policy. So what could you do if you are supportive of this initiative? If you are not supportive of this initiative, of course, this doesn't apply to you. But if you think it would be great that OCPP would be published as an IEC standard, what you could do is, first of all, reach out to your national committees of either TC69 or TC57 and show your support. Not all members in these groups are so aware of the wide use of OCPP and the benefits it has. So it might be a good idea for you to show that you support OCPP and answer their questions. And if you don't know the answers to their questions, let us know so we can help you answer their questions. And if they want, we can always provide additional information to your national committee. So we're here to help. And if you are in the position to vote within any of the national committees, of course, please vote yes. So exciting times. Next few months will be the discussion and voting process in IEC, and hopefully we'll be successful. So if you have any questions at the moment, yeah, we can answer them now.
Thank you, Lonneke. I see I've switched cameras for no reason at all. One moment. But we have questions coming in. Let's see. Let's start with this one. I think you have mentioned it earlier in your presentation, but maybe you can repeat it. Who owns the intellectual property rights for OCPP?
So if you go to the OCA website, you can download the OCA participants agreement, and there you can see the IPR policy. And the essence is that there is no IP included, so you can use it for freely, and any contribution that has been made has been done under that condition, so it's free for you to use.
Okay.
But it's the details. If you want to know the detailed phrasing, it's on the OCA website. You can find it there.
Okay. Let's see. The question is, are we standardizing 1.6 or 2.0.1 or both to the IEC? And maybe you can say something about 2.1 regarding this procedure.
Yes, so the version we have submitted is OCPP 2.0.1 edition 3, which is the most recent version with all the errata included. And that's an IEC standard. OCPP 1.6 was published in 2015, so 9 years old. So it's a great standard. It's very useful, but it's limited in the features that it covers. OCPP, Open Charge Alliance, will continue to support OCPP 1.6 with a testing tool, with PlugFest, with errata. So we'll continue to support OCPP 1.6, of course, but the version that has been submitted to IEC is 201 edition 3. For future versions, so we are, as I explained, we are currently finalizing the 2.1, which is the same as 201, but it adds bidirectional charging and support for payment terminals and some improvements based on field experience. And that version, once it's completed, will again be submitted to IEC again for fast track procedure. And then maybe you were wondering about the numbering. So we checked with the IEC how the numbering would go, and please bear with me. So this is how it should look like. So 201 will be published as, if all goes well, as 63584. So if maybe next year we publish 201 edition 4, which will be with included errata, that will be published again as 63584, and then 2025, assuming that we go through this procedure in 2025. And then for 2.1 will be published as 63584 part 2, and then automatically 201 will be 63584 part 1. So part 1 would be 201, part 2 would be 2.1, and then part 3 would be OCPP 2.2 or OCPP 3.0, depending on which way we're headed with OCPP.
Okay. Let's see. Do you expect the approval will accelerate the migration from 1.6 to 2.0.1?
Good question. I think what honestly, if you ask me, OCPP 1.6 works really well for a lot of use cases. So it will be used by everybody who needs it will use that. The main I don't 201 is the version on which we base the future development. So, for instance, the bidirectional charging, you need 201 for that. It's not possible to do that with 1.6, particularly with the grid codes. I wouldn't know, honestly. I wouldn't know if adoption by IEC will move the industry towards 201. Yeah, maybe that's something that the industry will have the answer to. I wouldn't know that. Sorry about that.
Let's see. We have a question. He has formulated it twice. He wants to know what problem is this solving? Or more nicely, what benefits is OCA seeking by making OCPP an IEC standard?
That's a good question. So the fact that you are an IEC standard is sort of a mark of approval of a lot of experts in a lot of national committees. At OCA, we of course, in a sense, have that also. We have a lot of experts from a lot of different countries. So in that sense, the people who work on OCPP and OCA are very similar to the people who would work within IEC. It is in certain regions by law, IEC standards are preferred. So whenever something is published as an IEC standard, it has a higher level of trust than standards that are not published by these formal standardization organizations. I think that's one benefit. So it gives, in certain regions, it gives a level of confidence that it has been gone through a thorough process and it's a good standard. The second part, which is becoming more and more important, I think, is that you see that for certain regions, charging stations are becoming more and more part of a bigger system. And OCA has a lot of experts from EV charging, from utilities, from car manufacturers, but there are always experts that are maybe in different areas that may not necessarily contribute to OCA. And within IEC, you get access to all those technical committees that may be working on other topics which are a little bit farther removed from the actual charging station, but are still relevant for the fitting of the charging station in the entire ecosystem. I think you're muted, Martijn. At least I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Let's see. A bit technical, I think, concerning collaboration with 61850. Do you expect that other devices than EVSE will use OSPP in the future?
I don't know. So first of all, you can use OCPP whichever way you like. So if you want to use it for something else, of course you can. If you want to use OCPP for batteries or for, I don't know, you can, of course. From time to time, we get questions from the industry exactly to this point. So can I use OCPP for batteries or can I use it for, can't recall something else. And for hydrogen charging stations, so hydrogen fueling stations. And then the answer of OCA is it's an industry association. So if you want to do that we can. And then the way OCA works is we need a group of people who know this topic, and then they can start a group and start discussing it and providing it as an option. So it depends on whether our industry members want to put effort into it. There are, of course, for a lot of devices, there are already established standards out there. So then that's a bit of a question. So what does OCPP add, or what would it add to the existing standards that are already used by the industry? So it's an industry decision if they want to pursue using OCPP for other purposes.
Okay, let's see. We had a couple of questions about this. Maybe I'm going to summarize. If, and let's hope not, the voting result is negative, negative votes are accompanied by comments. Will OCA then take in account the comments and resubmit? Or is the submission more take it or leave it?
No, no, so that's true. So in IEC, you can vote no, but then you have to give a motivation why not. And I think it would depend on the reason. So, for instance, one reason I can think of right now is the version that we're submitting is 201, and 201 does not yet include bidirectional charging, for example. So, if there would be voting no, saying this is not fit for us because we need bidirectional charging, then of course we can say, okay, well, if that's so important, then it's coming with 2.1. So then we could consider maybe in future resubmitting 2.1 because it would be included. But if it's more of a comment that they don't like OCPP fundamentally, or if they don't agree to the OCA IPR policy or something like that, which is very fundamental, then of course it's a different matter. So the short answer is, of course, we will consider all the comments, also the comments from countries that vote no, and then see what we can do to help.
Okay, let's see. We get some questions about technical aspects of OCPP 2.0.1 and 1.6, but I don't think it's relevant for this session. If you have questions about integrating 1.6 or 2.0.1, don't hesitate to email us info@openchargealliance.org. I will stick to the IEC procedure for this webinar session. Let's see, follow-up question to the last question. Did any other standards follow a similar path to IEC status?
Yeah. So it's not so the procedure that we're following is the fast track procedure. That's used regularly. The OCPP procedure is both a fast track procedure and the continuation of the maintenance of OCPP by OCA. So using the fast track procedure over and over again. And that has been also used. It's not used that often, so sometimes there's a bit of confusion within IEC experts whether or not it's appropriate. But IEC, of course, has confirmed that this is appropriate IEC procedure. And one standard that you can maybe all recognize is USB-C. So the USB-C standard for the charging of your phone and your laptop and stuff that has gone through a similar process with IEC. So it's not frequently used, but it's not. It does happen. So of course, and otherwise we couldn't have it if it wasn't the appropriate procedure. We couldn't have agreed upon it with IEC naturally.
Do you see any collaboration with IoT protocols like Matter? Matter just published their standard for EVSE.
So there is of course a great value in integrating chargers with energy management systems. I think this is what Matter is referring to. So combining different like batteries, charging stations, solar panels, heat pumps, and then managing that through an energy management system. There are a lot of protocols available for the industry to communicate with energy management systems. Modbus is one, eBus is one, Econet Lite is one, Matter is one. So there are several protocols there. So for now, what we've stated in the protocol description of 201 and again in 2.1 is we say you can use OCPP to talk to an EMS, but you can also use any of the other standards that are available, including Matter. And then what OCPP describes is how the charging station should behave should it be controlled through a device combining Matter and OCPP. So Matter is definitely an option, but there are different regions have different technologies. So at OCPP, we try to describe the protocol as being agnostic to those kinds of in-home protocols. I hope that answers the question.
Let's see. I hope it does. If anyone has some urgent questions, yes, it answered the question, so that was going very well. Let's see. I think we are through the IEC questions. I see some people are asking about OCPP and integration of OCPP. We will log these questions and I will try in our organization to find some answers for them. And if you have any other questions, please send them to info at Open Charge Alliance. Let's see, I think your presentation and your answers are very clear. So these were the questions. Thank you very much to all the attendees and everyone who asked the questions. Thank you, Lonneke, for your presentation. And let's see. Well, I hope we will see you at the celebration of 10 years of OCA in October in Amsterdam. And with that, I want to close this session. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.